If you have a dream thinking about or just setting up your own floristry business, watch this video. I'm going to help you diminish any doubt, help with any hurdles you're facing, and skyrocket your business to success. When I first started floristry, I used to work in retail shops, and the thought of setting up my own business was so overwhelming that I just didn't want to do it. I just thought that I'd be working in retail shops for the rest of my life. And then one day I was working a 12-hour shift at a florist and just thought that one coffin spray could pay me the same wage as a 12-hour shift I was doing in a retail shop to just an hour creating it myself with my own business. And then the idea came, and then the ball started rolling. Now, I'm not going to say that it was an easy journey, but it was the best decision I ever made. It was a risk, but it paid off. You're probably thinking, but Jem, I have stability in my 9 to 5 job and I'm too scared to take the leap straight away. Well, that's absolutely fine. I would say just get straight stuck into it. There's no time like the present. Don't worry, you can still do floristry along your part-time or full-time job, and a lot of my students have done this on their path to success. So they've started small and then grown their business, and then they can trickle out from their full-time job and know that they're going to get more stability with their floristry business than they did the 9 to 5, and I want you to be there too. Starting your own floristry business does not require huge investments. You can even start your own business right in your kitchen where you've got a table and a water source. You are ready to go. Facebook and Instagram business pages are free, so think of a business name and get the ball rolling. Get flowers, I would recommend, from your local wholesalers or Triangle Nurseries if you're in the UK. They deliver straight to your door and it's really, really easy. If you don't want to put this investment in, you can always buy artificial flowers and just practice and practice with those. So we really need to get that ball rolling just so you get a head start in your career, and then you feel like you have achieved something and starting to make a change in your life. Now, you might be thinking, but Jem, I'm so overwhelmed with all the aspects of floristry that I have to learn. Don't worry, I can whittle this down for you. As a beginner, I was absolutely so overwhelmed. I thought it was going to be easy. I thought we were just going to be playing with flowers, but it is not that whatsoever. You have to learn everyday orders from bouquets and arrangements to wedding flowers and bespoke designs, funeral flowers, and there is so much to learn within funeral flowers as well. But don't worry, you do not have to learn this overnight. Rome was not built in a day. Start with one aspect of floristry and master that. In my journey, that was funeral flowers. So when I first started my business, I was only doing funeral flowers. And I just saw, well, there's 5 other florists in my local town. So why on earth would anybody come to me when they're established? And that was silly of me to think. So you can learn from my mistake on that one. So I don't regret just doing the funeral flowers first. That brought in my profit and I could still sustain a business which got me more money than working 12-hour shifts at a florist every single day. I then mastered that aspect of floristry and then went on to everyday orders. So I started off really, really cheap. Back in the day, like 8 years ago, I was selling bouquets for £10. And the reason that I could do that is because it was the leftover stock from my funeral flowers. Because I was only doing funeral flowers and funeral flowers are bespoke, I couldn't then use that stock in another funeral because every funeral is bespoke. And I just thought that it would be best if I just sold the bouquets cheap and then I could make somebody else happy as well as getting my money back for the extra flowers. And then I didn't realise how much that was going to take off. And do you know what the main factor in this was? I did not believe in myself. I did not think I was good enough to compete. I don't like the word compete, but that is the only word that I can find in my head right now. So to compete with the other established florists in my area. So I was selling all these bouquets for dirt cheap, £10 to £20, but they were selling like hotcakes. So I was selling on Facebook, Instagram, and then one day somebody just asked me to do a huge bouquet, and I was thinking, what? Somebody wants to buy a big bouquet from me? I'm just used to all these £10, £20 ones just to get rid of my stock. But when I say I made this bouquet absolutely amazing, huge, striking and different from anybody else in my local area, which diminished all the doubts in my head. I then put it onto Facebook because Facebook was way bigger to advertise your business back then. Instagram is now. The amount of engagement I got on this post was absolutely phenomenal, and my business changed overnight. I would go and refresh my Facebook page and the likes were going up by the hundreds, like every 20 minutes, and it was absolutely amazing. And that is where the giant bouquet was born. Now, the moral of the story here is that I didn't copy everybody else. I didn't think what they were doing would bring me success because I am not them and my business does not run like them. So you have to make yourself stand out from the crowd, put your personality into your flowers and make it your own designs. That way, you will not have to compete on just price, and that can diminish all the doubts in your head. For a very long time, I was still doing bouquets bespoke to everybody. So when somebody did order, I would ask them exactly what flowers they wanted and exactly what they wanted the arrangement or bouquet to look like. So I was still left with this problem, but on a bigger scale: waste. And that's one of the most common questions I get from my students is, how do you then sell your waste? Now, I came up with a 5-step formula to diminish waste, which was basically to choose my 5 favourite flowers that I like in a design and use these flowers as a base and then put my little touches onto there. So I did not then have to buy 25 stems of clematis, 10 stems of chrysanthemum blooms, 10 stems of hydrangeas, 25 Ecuadorian roses for one bouquet, which was probably about £50. Especially being studio based as well, I didn't have the footfall to just make bouquets with my extra flowers for people to just pop in and grab and go. So I was getting really freaked out at this point. And that is why I decided to select 5 flowers which I knew added value. They were luxury, were in demand, and they sold. So I use this formula and still do now for all of my bouquets, but add varieties in, change them up, so then I can provide variety to my customers so they'll come back again and again and get a different bouquet each time. But I didn't have to buy all those different packets of stems to make the one bouquet. So if your flower formula was just using lilies, roses, carnations, chrysanthemums, and spray roses, then that is the only flowers that you have to buy from your wholesalers. Then you do not have to sweat it because you know that somebody else is going to buy that bouquet with those specific recipes in there as well. But you're probably thinking, but Jem, you can't do that for weddings and funerals, and you're absolutely correct, you cannot. But this is another kettle of fish, which we will be talking about in a future video. So yes, they all have to be bespoke. Let me just give you some advice on this. Yes, they all have to be bespoke, and this is why you need to have a minimum charge. Because again, if you do everything bespoke, say for example, no minimum charge, and the bride wants a bridal bouquet with all different sorts of flowers like toffee roses, cappuccino roses, a particular colour of dahlia, peonies, and so on and so forth, it is not, in my opinion, profitable to do this because I can't then put those in my 5-step formula into my bouquets. I'll be left with that extra stock. So putting a minimum spend on diminishes this. For example, the wedding is bespoke. They can have the bridal bouquet and have all those variety of stems that can be utilised in the bridesmaids bouquets and also the table centres as well. And then you can calculate how many stems you need to diminish as much waste as possible. Now, I'm not saying you can't use the bespoke flowers that you use in your bridal bouquets for everyday bouquets. You can absolutely do whatever you want to do, but it might be harder to sell because they are not the designs that your customers are used to. And then you don't want to advertise that you do that style because then more customers might come and say, I want that, and you'll just get the odd 1 or 2 that then you have to make that order for again and again and again, but not consistently. So you don't know, you might have one order in that style 1 week, and then the next week or 2 weeks later somebody else wants that style, and then you are just left with a pile up of stock. Now, this is all my experience. Everything that I'm saying in this video is from my experience alone. Okay, so this is how I skyrocketed my business to success, and this is just recommendations that I'm telling you. Now, when you are starting your business, you can just watch YouTube tutorials or get inspired by other florists, but do you understand the structure and fundamentals that goes into floristry? I can't stress enough that you need to know the basics of floral design before you then go on to start with your style and making designs, because you need to understand why you are actually making what you are making and what is visually pleasing. Because if you just find somebody's work that you like and try to redesign it, do you fully understand the flower placement in that bouquet? So if you're just finding a photo and trying to redesign that yourself, do you fully understand why the flower placement is what it is? So you can't just get the flowers that are in that bouquet and then just make it and think, oh, that looks pretty, because it's going to take more time. And you really need to understand the work and fundamentals and skills and techniques that have gone into those designs. I've actually whittled the fundamentals of floristry into one short video that you can watch, and you can click the link in the description and I will send you a video to the fundamentals of floristry. Oh guys, pricing. It is still the most difficult part of floristry for me. Now, why is it so difficult for floristry? Because even a 7-year-old can do maths. It is because you love your job so much and you want your customers to be happy and you want to please them. I always used to actually feel really awkward talking about money with customers and being like, well, can you pay me now? So I made so many mistakes. I'd deliver the flowers before they had paid me, and then I'd get back and sometimes they just would not pay me. And it was just silly. I had to do credit control. I felt like I was spending my whole life chasing money. It was really uncomfortable. So to diminish this, I made a website. I put every single photo on of the flowers that I sell onto the website, put the price and put everything that's going to go into the bouquet and what is to be expected. And then this diminished any doubt and any awkwardness in my head. With my students that have gone to previous college courses, the majority of them tell me that they've been taught to do a 2 times markup plus VAT. Okay, so that's absolutely fine, but you will be competing on price with other florists that also do the same style as you. But the floristry industry standard for pricing is a 3 to 4 times markup, and that's really where you need to get to be able to achieve the right profit for you. So you really need to be hitting that 70% profit margin. Okay, so for example, if you sell something for £100, so you sell a bouquet for £100, you should be making £70 on that bouquet. You really don't want to go below the 50% mark. And obviously in floristry, you're working with perishable items and you do have waste, and your flowers will die or come damaged and you have to chuck them in the bin. Obviously take that up with your wholesalers if that does happen to you, but sometimes there is nothing that you can do about it. So if you are selling your designs with a 2 times markup, which is a 50% profit margin, at the end of the year, you are unlikely to have met that 50% profit margin. And you're going to look at your accounts and be like, I could have made so much more. I put in all that time. I've been a busy fool. So I would recommend, yes, at the beginning, do the 2 times markup to get your name out there, just like I did. Sell cheap. Get that client base, get brand recognition, and then go up to your 3 to 4 times markup. I recommend doing a 3.5 times markup just to make sure that I am hitting that 70%, and then that 5% I have leverage for waste and damage, etc. So if you do want to learn how to set up, skyrocket your business, or just need a little bit of extra help, I have the perfect online course for you, which anybody in the world can watch as long as you can speak English. We start from the very beginning to the fundamentals of floristry, getting your products from wholesale, finding the best wholesaler for you, pricing, marketing, social media, growth, website, accounts, money management, budgeting, and so much more. And then we go on to make 5 of my most in-demand bouquets and arrangements, including a small modern bouquet, one of my famous giant bouquets, a large luxury hat box, base a funeral letter with chrysanthemums, which is the same technique that you need to learn to base all funeral tributes. So this is really, really handy for you. And then a 3-foot spray also, which can be used for weddings, funerals and events. You also get a one-to-one coaching session with me, so you can ask any questions you want, help along the way, and make sure you're going away with confidence to know how to set up and maintain your successful, profitable floristry business anywhere in the world. You also get a whole year access to the course. So the 7 modules, and you can watch those modules over and over again if you need to. So you can keep going back and practicing and making sure that you are fully confident and competent within floristry. Lifetime mentorship from myself to help with any questions that you may have along the way, whether you're doing a wedding setup one day and you just need a little bit of advice, or you're facing any hurdles, you can get in contact with me and I will be your lifetime mentor. For more information, do click the link in the description. Guys, as you can probably see, it's snowing today and I'm just waiting for my delivery. And in the next video, I'll show you everything that I got up to. So I'll see you then. Love ya.